What is up guys, Andy, Forest Team Runner here, and I'm here today to talk to you about my top things that helped contribute towards my half marathon PB earlier this year, and things that I did in my training that helped towards this, some of my favourite workouts that helped towards this, and some things that you can take away and incorporate into your training for next year's half marathon PB. Okay boys and girls, let's jump into today's video. Before that though, I just have to say, what a morning, totally overdressed, got an underlayer on today and gloves, don't need them, it is a lovely, perfect running conditions. And as I said in the intro, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the factors that I have felt played a part in my half marathon PB. So I'm just going to kind of reel those off one by one. One of the sections is going to be workouts, and I'll talk to you specifically about some of the workouts that I really felt benefited my training. But there are other aspects as well which massively helped, and you know, if I can share anything with you, I just want to add value to this channel and make you guys feel like you're coming here for more than just watching me train on the Forest of Dean, as much as that's a cornerstone of my channel and you know what I've built this upon. I also want you to come here and feel like you can take something away. So without further ado, number one for me, definitely 2-week taper. I hear you say, what? If you're anything like me, I'd never contemplated a 2-week taper for a half marathon. The only time I nearly did it was at Newport, and it wasn't really a 2-week taper, it was a 1.5 week taper, and then the race never happened. I was inadvertently pushed into a 2-week taper for the Severn Half Marathon. For those of you who don't know, my personal best is 1:20, 48, 44, I can't remember. So an 80-minute half marathon, running that on 40 to 45 miles a week, so not massively high mileage. And yeah, I did a 2-week taper, and that was because I went on holiday 2 weeks out from the race, and I got one run in on the Wednesday, one run in on the Saturday and Sunday. So I ran where I normally run 4 times in the week, I ran 3 times, and then 3 times the following week, including the race. No, yes, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. So I was inadvertently pushed into this 2-week taper, knowing I was going on holiday, thinking I could squeeze in an extra run on holiday. Didn't, as you do. You go on holiday to go on holiday, don't you? I love doing a tourist run, but my holidays aren't spent running. And that was possibly one of the best things that ever happened. I can't tell you how fresh I felt rocking up to the start line. It was incredible, and a lot of us for a half marathon, especially a lot of us who run marathons or run half marathons a lot, we don't see a taper as being too much of a necessary thing. And to be honest with you, when I run the big half in March, I won't be doing a 2-week taper then, because that's going to be a tune-up race for the marathon. But if your half marathon is your goal race, I would certainly consider a 2-week taper. Tip number 2, guys, I lost a bit of weight. Losing a bit of weight, if you have weight to lose. I know a lot of you have commented before and said, you look really skinny. I'm really not. I have a bit of flab here and there. And actually, again, unintentionally but then intentionally, during that taper, lost. I went from, I'm going to try and do this, I know a lot of you work in kilos, I work in pounds and ounces and stone, so I normally float around the 14 stone mark. I got down to like 13.5, 13.7 pounds. I think roughly, very roughly, that converts from something like 92, 93 kilos down to 84, 85. And I did that over 2 weeks, which I know it's quite a drastic drop, but this is why I don't talk about diet on my channel, because I eat a lot and I eat excessively, and my holiday ironically made me eat less, because when I'm at home or in the office I snack, I work close to shops, I'll go to a shop and buy food. I probably eat more than my daily intake of calories, and for those of you that have any sort of knowledge on weight loss, the basic rule of thumb is calories in versus calories out. It doesn't matter what you eat. Well, it helps if you eat good, but if your calories were 2,500 for the day and you had 4 Big Macs from McDonald's, let's say that they were 2.2, it might be the most unhealthiest thing in the world. But if your calories in are less than your calories out, you're going to lose weight. Yes, it's not great for you. Yes, you're not going to feel fantastic eating all that junk, but you'll lose weight. And I lost weight on holiday, lost 3 or 4 pounds actually. So when I got home, I was like, ooh, I'm under 14 stone. I know, I will carry that on for the last week. So I really lightened the load for my race, and again, I felt as light as a feather. It was insane. I have since put that back on, not all of it. I have kept to just under 14 stone, which should mean next time I go for a bit of a strip down of some weight, it's not going to be as drastic, but it helped. It really did help, guys. So, you know, you hear people talk about race weights and things. I used to poo-poo that and think, what are you talking about? Just go and race. But actually, it makes a massive difference, and I will, in the future now, do the same. I will do it less drastically, do it more gradually. But have a think about your weight. Can you shed any pounds? Is it worth thinking about just cutting back a little bit approaching race week? You don't want to be undernourished, and I don't advocate you not eating in your race week, because I just ate the right things and didn't overindulge. So that for me was number 2. Number 3 is workouts. You know, I could talk about workouts all day. I'll show you all of them on my channel, but the 4 workouts in particular that I really felt tuned me up nicely for my half marathon was kilometre repeats, as much as I hated them, kilometre repeats, mile repeats, progression runs and threshold runs. Now, I actually found at the time I was doing mile repeats with 1 minute standing rest. That is one of the hardest things I've ever done. I'm no good at standing rests, I'm just not. It breaks up my flow, it breaks up my rhythm, and I did those a lot during that training cycle. And you'll notice kilometre repeats, mile repeats, threshold runs, progression runs, especially the first 2 mile and kilometre repeats, massive speed endurance type of workouts, and those were key for me personally. As I said, you saw my suffering up at the track in the summer on those kilometre repeats, and we were also doing those 6, 8, 10 kilometre repeats, 3 minutes rest in between each of those, but standing, I just can't do standing rests. And those again are fantastic speed endurance workouts. They work on holding your speed, and there is an art to not going out too fast, being consistent throughout your workout. Man, I've blown up so many times in a workout, but I'm learning over time how to pace them. And threshold runs, similar to what I'm doing now when we'll be doing my marathon plan, my zone 3 and 4 runs, which are at marathon pace, just help me get used to running at that comfortably uncomfortable pace. And although the zone 3 and 4 stuff that I'll be doing a lot more of on this plan isn't quite at threshold, it's almost like teaching you race pace, so that was great. And progression runs are just one of the best things in the world to teach you to progress through a run and finish strong. Is one of the best things you can't underestimate a progression run. I didn't do many of them, and I think the ones I did in this particular plan were only 4 or 5 miles long, but in the past I've done 8-mile progression runs going from 7:30s down to sub 6 minutes, and they are just out of this world, killers. You get to 6 miles and you think, that was easy, with 2 more to go, and those last 2, oh, they're killers. So workouts as a whole, those are my favoured and preferred workouts, and it's just about being consistent with them and making sure you have that progression through your plan with those workouts. So yeah, number 3 was the workouts. Number 4 was nutrition. Man, I have got this so wrong on so many occasions with my half marathons. You know, I know a lot of people that don't take anything on board in a half marathon, and I ask myself the question, are you pushing yourself to your potential if you aren't taking anything on board? Because really, I found for me that the hour mark is the sweet spot. If I have a gel on the hour or after, it's game over. It's too late. I've faded. The gel is going to do nothing. It is null and void. If I have the gel between 50 and 55 minutes just before that fade, you've got to remember, you're putting energy into your body, fuel, should we say. If your energy is depleted, it's very hard to pick it back up, especially mentally. You want to think about keeping yourself topped up. So in a marathon, it's different. Obviously, you want to be taking on fuel much more regularly. With the half marathon, I have worked out that I can get away with, it's around the 9-mile mark for me, around 50-55 minutes. That's about 8.5, 9 miles ish, and that is what gets me through to the end without fading. Again, this was trial and error, and I do encourage you to try it yourself. And I've had enough races where it's not worked, but I can't stress enough how important it is to get that nutrition right, because all these workouts and everything are going to be for nothing if you fade in the end of the race due to the fact that you've got no fuel on board. Don't be scared to take fuel, don't be scared to practice with it. I mean, I'll be doing a lot of that over the next few months of my marathon training. Just don't be afraid, just take a gel. If everyone says, I don't do that, that doesn't mean you don't need to do that. Their bodies can work differently to you, and as I say, I beg the question, are you pushing yourself? Because if you are going hell for leather and your time is an hour and a half, let's say, you're going to need something. You're going to need something just to chivvy you along. So nutrition. And my final thing that helped me get my PB, and unfortunately this is nothing you can practice at home or in training, but is race practice. Yeah, so I ran 4 half marathons this year. On the 3rd one I got it right, and obviously that's just this year. I've run multiple half marathons before, and for me there was this whole encompassing outer body experience of belief, strength, vision. I know it might sound a little bit crazy, but I can't express to you the mindset I had on that day. It was of cool, calm collectedness, belief in myself, going through all my checks that I do in training. How is my form? How is my breathing? How are you breathing next to me? Are you breathing heavier than me? Yes, you are. You're not going to last a distance at this pace. And it's everything. And I know that's a bit spiritual, it's a bit whatever, and I'm not that type of person, but that day I felt like everything clicked. And we have those days, but I firmly believe that is down to practice, that is down to belief, that was being well rested, great training, consistency, and just on the day believing. I think at mile 3 I knew that I was on for something special. It was about that time it felt effortless. It really, really felt effortless. And as I said, I knew that I could trust in my body that day to do what I would want it to do, and it would respond, and it did. It did. Getting to the top of that hill at mile 7, feeling like I was gonna drop out because it was so hard, and I pushed so hard up that hill, and to take those few first steps downhill, and my body to just go woof. It's like on a game when you just come back to life, you know, and you've got full health. That's what it felt like. And it was like my mind said go, my mind just said run. And yeah, that's my 5th thing. Unfortunately not too helpful for you, but if you can practice in races, race practice is for me again one of the keys. So as I approach this road, I'll wrap this video up, guys. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a like, share it with your friends, and of course subscribe to the channel for weekly running content. And I will indeed see you very soon. Until next time.